Today on Spotlight, I have for you a game called Vagante by Blitworks, a name that might sound familiar to you if you played like the console versions of Streets of Rage 4, Sonic CD, Jet Set Radio, Fez, Spelunky, Bastion, Don't Starve. Yeah, that was those guys. You've probably seen their logos a couple of times playing those games. They're also co-developing Spelunky 2 along with Mossmouth. And in a way, you can kind of look at Vagante as a Spelunky-esque game. I hear that name thrown around a lot, especially if you look at the Steam reviews for this game. But we're not here to necessarily talk about. Well, we're not playing this game because of its Steam release. We're playing this game because at the time of this video going up, maybe it's a couple of days after, a couple of days before, Vagante is getting released on consoles. So, to get some buzz generating for it, or to get some hype going, Blitworks has supplied me with a code for this spotlight, and I just want to say thank you very much for the offer, and we're going to get into it. As a first impressions video, I should stress that more than anything, because I spent a couple of hours on this game to get an idea of what I think about this game overall, and we're going to be spending like the next 9-10 minutes on it. I don't know how long this is going to go because I never really script these things, so I'm just going to ramble on my opinions on my experiences with Vagante. Well, let's get started here. I feel when indie developers are getting into the creation process of the game, there is some sort of wheel that they spin to see what kind of game they're going to make. And it's always like a selection from like the most popular games available for the genre. And it's like, what? Metroidvanias, puzzle games, artistic story, linear hallway simulator, or roguelikes. Vagante, for this time, landed on roguelikes because that's what we have. We have a roguelike adventure. You've played these games a million times before, likely, especially if you're into this kind of thing. I am admittedly on and off with the genre because in my eyes, you play one, you play them all, which I know is kind of weird for me to say because I love Metroidvanias and all sort of thing, and I love a lot of other games that kind of play similarly. But with roguelikes, the thing that kind of alienates me like going into it is the idea is that from the get-go, for a fact the most you're getting out of this game is all about replaying it over and over and over again until you finally have the experience, the skill necessary to get that one run where you finally make it to the end. Otherwise, you're dying in the first few levels again because of, could be a couple of things. Could be just bad RNG, could be a bad payout or loadout for items, or you got a really shitty procedurally generated level, and that is the name of the game with Vagante. It is a roguelike dungeon crawler with procedurally generated levels, and it is your mission to explore these very treacherous areas. Treacherous, that's a word. And amassing skills, experience points, new items, magic spells, what have you, just to make it to the next part and get to the end as far as you can. And Lord knows I tried. There are a couple of different things available at your disposal as you're getting things going. First off, when I first played the game, I thought like the game froze for a second because you got this wagon here and they pull up to like the dark caves. Like it's pretty much the entry point to where things get going and nothing happens. Like I thought, all right, did I have keyboard and mouse controls activated? My controller's on. It seems to be working, but nothing's happening. Hitting all the buttons, nothing's happening. And then something finally happened when I hit the start button, which that should make sense. Hit start to start, idiot. But it was really weird because like no other button was working. I thought that the game immediately crashed when I was getting started. It was like, it was really, really bizarre. But you hit start and you are given a choice of a few character classes. You unlock more as you play. I ended up at some point unlocking a class known as the Wildling, which is kind of like a berserker, feral sort of character, which ended up being my favorite because I got the best runs with that particular class. But you have the Knight, who has a big HP threshold. You have the Rogue, which I believe is more focused on dexterity. I think they have like the same HP pool as the Knight, but they're not as like strong physically. Then you have the Mage. My least favorite class, which pains me to say because normally I'm all about like the magical casters and the DPS and all that sort of shit, but their health pool is dismal. Their basic weapons doesn't amount to anything, and you really got to hope you find those awesome magic scrolls early on to get the most out of them, or at least survive long enough so that when you finish the level, when you finish the stage, you rest up at a bonfire to restore some health. It's pretty much your rejuvenation period, assuming you don't find any sort of healing items inside the cavern itself, which may not happen. You know, it's kind of hard to regenerate health in this game, period, assuming you don't like get to the end and rest at a bonfire. But when you do, you can use that experience you amass to level up and spend that level up point you got on a certain attribute. You can either just increase the stats for like the basic stuff, strength, dexterity, luck, intelligence, that sort of thing, or you can unlock a different ability for that class so that you as a character are more capable, either as a fighter or maybe more mobile. You can do different things. With the wildling, you can do like this roar that stuns close by enemies, and it ended up being really helpful for the common trash, not so much for the boss fights, but the common trash. But they also had like a ground pound, which I really liked, especially for like visiting the early bosses early on. Like the dragon didn't stand a chance with them, and I thought that was really nice. But that's what you're choosing between. You can either like spend the points to make your character more capable, just as like an individual, or you can spend it into stats so that, just numerically speaking, your attacks are hitting harder, or you can take more, or your spells do a little more, or you can increase your luck and maybe get better drops for, you know, loots and all that sort of thing, because it's roguelike. You've seen this game a million times before. You are scouring the areas, getting new items for your equipment and all that, and just making yourself like decked out to the nines so that you are eventually hitting really hard. You got new abilities like a double jump or maybe a high jump. Maybe you have familiars following you that just decimate all the little small fry and can be helpful for bosses too. I got elemental effects for your weapons and all that. You can have like a lingering poison or fire effect so that you're doing more DPS overall and just kill things way faster. Or you can find a crap ton of potions and vials that can restore your health. They can enhance your weapons, your armor, your skills. Some of the items you might find are cursed, and what that basically means that, I mean, they have some effects inherently, but that also means you can't take it off because they're kind of like bound to your skin or your soul. But there are vials you can find that like removes the curse. I think adds an extra benefit to the equipment. So again, like you're going all over the place looking for items so that you're getting the best things for your character to just keep on moving forward, and hopefully you can get to the end of this particular run, which didn't happen for me like 9 times out of 10, but not for reasons I was expecting, because the one thing about Vagante is you not only got a lot of common trash that are like all over the place. You got your little red bats, these dudes with, they look like moblins to me from Zelda. They poke you with the sword. You got like worms that explode on contact, and you got like, your mini bosses, a dick-headed goblin that likes to toss you into other things, or a baby dragon, or like a giant mushroom like in the forest area. What ended up killing me the most, as annoying as it was the one-hit kill stuff. This game has one-hit kill hazards, like a bed of spikes or the boulders. There are switches that you might accidentally press that release a boulder from the ceiling, and I lost count and how many times that ended up killing a run, especially like early on. I tell you, the one thing that really debilitated me or just demotivated me from continuously playing this game, and I gotta be honest here, is those damn boulders. It's just because, especially early on, like the first world that you travel through are these dark caves, and you can later find upgrades to like, well, at least not upgrades, but like a magic vial that just like maps out the entire thing. You can see everything, and in that way it gets better, assuming you run into it. But most of the time you're not. And I had 2-3 runs that I could recall where I died just seconds into going to the first level because I go left or right, I hit a switch and a fucking boulder falls on me, and that's it. Like it just instantly kills you. Like I've played a lot of these games, or at least I've sampled a lot of these games, because it's all about whether or not you have the patience to keep going and want to finish these games. But never in my experiences that I believe that I played a game like this that had just an instant kill hazard. And I gotta say, it's the worst part of the game for me. I don't think this game needed instant kill hazards, because you're getting all these upgrades and you're becoming just this amazing fighter, and this same bed of spikes from stage 1 or the same falling rock from the earlier games is still doing 999 to you, and it just sucks the wind right out of you. And I didn't like feeling like that. I mean, that's kind of the point. It's like, oh, just have better like fucking environmental awareness, shithead. Sure, like, and that's the point. But never in my experiences with these games that I feel so fuck me, man. It's like I got hit by another rock. But I don't want to keep doing this if I'm gonna get these cool upgrades for this run, and then a fucking rock falls on me, and then I just ugh. So yeah, that ended a number of runs, and I got to a point where I was like, this is getting annoying. I gotta be a little more vigilant with this, and I did. I stuck around for a bit longer, to the point where I was looking at my friends list and I was, oh, wait, I got a friend here that has this game. So I asked my buddy Trios, he's my one of my Final Fantasy 14 buddies, and just a friend in general. So Trios, if you're watching this, thank you very much. We ended up doing a couple of co-op runs, and I have to say, Vagante becomes a much better experience with co-op, but not for like because things are easier to kill, but because it's just it adds more humor to the game when you guys are fumbling around in the same areas, trying not to like trigger instant kill traps and all that sort of thing, or when a character ends up dying, you know, in a co-op game, death is not immediately the end for a character. You just you resurrect into like a skeleton who I believe can't equip any items or anything like that, but you still can fight. You can throw bones. And I think like Trios especially ended up like killing a couple of things in that state, and it was funny. Like we're still able to move on through the skin of our teeth, but we're just barely edging by. And I think if like a skeleton character dies, it just becomes this little familiar that just hover around the player that's still alive. So it's like, yeah, you're on death's doorway. You don't have that much time left, but it was fun. It was more fun as a co-op experience than it was single player, at least for me, because I had some really bad luck with the dungeon layouts and all that sort of thing, and there's only so much you can do about that. So that's the name of the game with this. You with roguelikes, you're constantly playing the game again and again and again until you amass the knowledge and experience to finally get that run where you take it to the end. Fight more boss fights, things you didn't encounter before, all that sort of thing. But you're gonna die a lot, and Vagante definitely delivers that in strides. So if you're interested in getting this game for yourself, you can find the info you need in the description below. And again, I want to thank Blitworks for supplying me with a code for this game. I do appreciate it. It was fun, especially with, again, I have to stress this game is better in co-op, and there is local co-op, there is online co-op. I ended up doing online co-op, but there is also 1 to 4 player local co-op. It is definitely a game where it is all about your play style and how you generally approach these sort of things and trying to tackle the challenges ahead with that in mind. So if you're reckless, maybe you want to choose the wildling. If you like to take your time and be as careful as possible, maybe you want to be a mage. If you want to be a little more agile and jump through walls eventually, you can play as the rogue. Or if you want to learn the ropes, you can play as the knight. And you even slowly start unlocking these different backgrounds, which give you a starter bonus. Like you might have more luck, or maybe you have more strength, but maybe you're not really good at magic. Again, it's all these very minuscule customizations so that you are fitting things to your playstyle, and that is at the end of the day, I think what's going to give you that edge in finally making it to the end. If you do, I don't know, maybe a rock. And that is where I'm going to end things for today's video. If you liked what you saw, I appreciate a thumbs up if you got the time, and I am taking requests for new spotlights in the comment section for this video. And a community post I just made a little before this video went up. I'm going to be prioritizing choices that have the most thumbs up because I want to cover things people really want me to see. The only thing I request, and I elaborated this, is let's take it easy on certain genre points. Like, I don't want every spotlight to be a roguelike. I don't want every spotlight to be a Metroidvania. I don't want every spotlight to be a Puyo Puyo game. That's all I was saying. You know, spotlights are about giving spotlights to games that I would either never give the time of the day, or maybe something that needs more love and attention. That's kind of what this series is all about. And I really want to start bringing it back in this format where I play the game for as much as I can, and I just talk in front of the camera for a few minutes, and hopefully I can, you know, drive up some numbers for these game sales, or awareness at the very least, because that's, I mean, what it's all about. I feel as a content creator for this channel, reviewing games, I feel it is kind of a responsibility of mine to raise more awareness for games, both old and new, you know what I mean? But yeah, so we're gonna wrap up there. Blitworks, again, thank you for the game code. Lewis, thank you for editing this video. Pretty low maintenance compared to Versus videos. I'm not sure if you would agree, but as always, guys, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night and take care.